1, 2, 1, 2.
Hello there. So if you notice that drum, there's a flam there. There's 2 hits, not 1.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's important stuff. Welcome everyone. This is we're flying almost solo tonight. Mark and the Funky Bunch isn't here, so this is going to be great. He's let the kids out to play, and we've got joined by Mitch Brisbane, Thai boxer extraordinaire, Muay Thai.
Okay, talk me up. Yeah, keep going.
Gym owner, new gym owner as well.
Yep.
And all around great guy. And we're going to have a chat about all things Muay and life in Wollongong, I think.
Awesome.
I think we should start at the top. Where'd you grow up?
Oh, well, okay. I'm a Dapto boy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the crew.
Yeah, it seems everyone you come across, it's someone, they're from Dapto.
Yeah, there's got to be one.
Yeah, I'm a Dapto boy.
So you went to Dapto High?
Yeah, I was Dapto Public, Dapto High.
Yeah.
When did I leave Dapto? When I was about 21, maybe? Yeah, so...
Moved into Wollongong or...?
Yeah, I was in Wollongong, and I think it was sort of one of those things you get out and you don't look back, really.
Yeah. Well, I've gone back a few times.
Sometimes.
It's funny, you sort of go, if I go back now, for some reason, to either see a mate or whatever,
Yeah.
you drive through the streets and it just feels like that old feeling.
Yeah,
It's just
I'm
like,
back.
I'm back.
I'm
Yeah.
fucking back.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. I was like that when I went back to my hometown in New Zealand, and it just everything seems so small, you know. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
New Zealand's definitely like in Australia. I think at least people had money to put an extra roof on up top, you know, an extra what do you call that, floor. New Zealand, they don't. It's almost like all the houses are shrunk. You know?
So
Yeah.
what sports did you do? Like,
Yeah, look, I mean, I started out as a kid. I played a little bit of footy growing up, but it was always, I mean, for me, I started out, I boxed with my family because, I mean, my dad, he had amateur fights. He was
wow.
he was a fighter to an extent. Both of my grandfathers, one of my grandfathers was a boxing trainer back in the day, long time ago, and my dad's dad was actually Australian middleweight champion.
shit.
Yeah, so it's sort of,
Pedigree.
I grew up around that. And then I mean,
Yeah.
I've got cousins that were fighters and boxers, and yeah, that's how it all started. I just remember, you know, as a kid, all the way through my teens and whatnot, doing that with my pop and everything, and my dad, and
Holding mitts for you and that?
yeah, and that's where sort of for me, that's where that foundation came from, and that's like for me what I do now. You know, learn a lot along the way in different experiences, but that's where I started doing that.
Yeah, interesting.
But
So boxing was just for fun. You didn't.
yeah,
actually
look,
train?
I sort of, I know, in the end I hated it because it was started like as a kid.
Yeah,
I just remember
yeah.
my grandfather's being really pushy with it,
That
and
often
my
happens,
dad,
yeah.
and you know, and it just sort of, you get to that age where you start to rebel with it a little bit. And then I tried different things, and then I sort of dabbled it. If we're going to get into it, it's sort of like I did different martial arts, and that is growing up as well, and I did a lot of competition with that too. And
What types? Do you remember what they...
predominantly, I competed a lot in taekwondo, and that was sort of where the competition thing started, and everything sort of developed and grew off that. And
Because there weren't back then there wasn't that much to choose from. Was
No,
there?
it was
There
that
Taekwondo was quite big. Though.
Yeah.
It's not so big now, but in New Zealand it was
Karate Kid.
or Taekwondo, man.
Karate Kids out. So
But I sort of did that, like not so much the traditional aspect thing. It was the Olympic style one, like for
Points
fighting
or
and competition.
points. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And is that what started you into Muay Thai?
Yeah, well, I think what happened was with that, it was sort of like, as I said, I started out with the boxing for like a long time. And look, to tell you the truth, I'd never really stopped right through with whatever I was doing. I was still always around those gyms and sparring and training and doing all that. And it's like, when I got to the end of the road with the martial arts, I mean, for me, it got down to like, at a point of like Olympic selection trials and stuff like that, and because I lived that pretty full on, and then you start to see the ugly side of it, where it's you see like, I'm not going to make it because I don't have a relationship with this person, or you know, there's a bit like that, And then I started to sort of pull away from that, and then that's where it started to branch. Okay, well, let's put the boxing together then that other aspect of the martial arts, and it's sort of built into that Muay Thai, and then once I started to really get into that, it just like all of that was on the back burner. I just went
fell in love with
full steam with
full
that.
Thai.
You found a Thai gym?
Yeah. Well, I was doing a little bit of cross training for competitions at a gym, and then seeing them doing that, and then just sort of. Oh, maybe I'll
have a little
a bit of a dabble, and then and then it was sort of you sort of come from, I guess, in a different sport, top of the food chain in your mind, and then you go there and go, okay, well that doesn't work, you know what I mean? And then it was like that competitive nature was like, no, I've got to be the best at this, you know what I'm saying? That's what it sort of
And did the boxing background help?
To tell you the truth, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I think having that background in that. My boxing game in Muay Thai.
So your hands are probably really good.
Yeah. I've always felt that I've been able to, over the years, if I've sparred, because I've done a fair bit of sparring with pros and whatnot, and like some of the local guys and some from Sydney and stuff in boxing, and you're never going to get over them, but I've been okay to sort of hold my own a little bit and not being from completely that field. So that's really, that transferred a lot into the Muay Thai,
and you would be able to like sort of lay back on that, you know.
You can sort of always fall back that on and rely on.
Close the distance and use your hands. And
that's right. Yeah,
getting out kicked. I guess. But you had that taekwondo kicking anyway.
Yeah, and I think that sort of made I mean, who knows what I would have done or how I would have went without that background. I don't know, but. It's a completely different style.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you compare? I've always thought like Muay Thai it's real, you know, like you know, they're seriously getting hit, which may be the problem I think with the karate trainers, that you never actually really got hit. Yeah. So if you did end up getting hit, it kind of freaked you out a bit, you know. Yeah. Whereas in boxing and Muay Thai, you definitely
it's the real deal.
You know how to get hit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And Taekwondo is like, it's not full contact really or anything, is it?
Oh, look, the intent's there and it is, but it's just a different game. It's more like, I guess you'd treat it like, I mean, people get knocked out all the time when they do it. So the venom's there, but it's not, I guess it's more treated like a sport, I guess, you know what I mean? Like it's...
Not like a fight.
No. That's why you sort of feel a little bit weird about possibly calling it a fight. You know what I mean? So but having said that, people get knocked out all the time, so it's not. Yeah.
And then, because I know Joe Rogan started off.
He was actually really good.
Was he really?
Yeah. I think he like competed in the US Open and stuff like that. And if you do compete in the US Open, win that medal in it, whatever, you're pretty good.
You're pretty good.
Yeah. I think I've heard him say that he
we were talking about centering his chi or something.
That was a funny one. But he was saying he was up for selection and he didn't get selected, so he chucked it in and went to kickboxing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But he did say he wanted to. There was a wrestler at a schoolyard or something, and he goes, "I could take you down any day." And Rogan's like, if I center my chi, you can't take me down, because he believed it. Yeah, okay. And the dude just took him down all day, and he's like, "Fuck, I got to learn to wrestle."
Yeah, definitely.
But, I never did any. Like, I did karate for a little bit, and I just thought, this is bullshit.
Cobra Kai, man.
Yeah, and I didn't have a gi or anything, so I was fucking spewing. My parents wouldn't buy one until I went for long enough. That's the only reason I wanted to do it.
Yeah, it was bloody big. I think I went to 1 or 2 karate lessons. We just stood there for an hour going, like this. And there wasn't much else going on, man. It was like 50 kids. You know, I think we actually bought the gi for that as well. So
I think everyone you come across has done taekwondo, karate. It's like back when we were kids. You know,
It was quite cool though, because all the dads would take their kids along. I think there's still a few karate. Was it dojos?
Yeah, I think that there's still a lot around, but I mean, I feel like in this day and age, it's a bit dated. You know, like it's more of a discipline and respect and all that. It's great for the kids and to learn that, but and as a martial art. But I mean, for competition,
have you heard of the Masayama? He was a crazy karate guy from the 50s or something, and he went to Thailand, and they all just laughed. Karate's not going to do anything over here. Yeah. This was a guy who used to kill bulls.
Oh, the one-punch guy?
One-punch. He get bulls to charge him, and he'd bang like this, and they'd drop dead.
But it didn't work on the Thais.
I think he got knocked down for the first time ever in a Thai fight, but We'll have to look it up. We'll double check, but I think he won.
Shit.
And then he went to the States and he took on 50 guys, one after the other, in a ring and just knocked them all out. From all things. Yeah, Masayama.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Check it out.
Check him out, yeah. Because I remember playing the reason Don Miller, who we'll maybe talk about later, he was telling me about this cat.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a video game I used to play at a local fish and chip shop, and it was a really dodgy Double Dragon or something. And for the big boss fight, you had to punch a bull and kill it. And they actually got this video game off this cat.
Strange.
Yeah.
So what got you? So you started Thai boxing. Were you like? Because you can't really Google, Thai boxers or.
Yeah.
What made you go to Thailand is where I'm sort of getting.
Well, for me, again, I think it's that whole competitive nature of thinking I want to be the best. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you got to, at times are changing now a little bit, but a lot of the Muay Thai from Australia and like other places as well, they've been really like far behind, and it's like, because over here it's a very, like we're talking about with the martial arts backgrounds and whatnot. Yeah. So they'll sort of have this kickboxing sort of martial arts style, and
it's like they don't want to do the elbows and the knees.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
They just dance on the edge of it.
It's starting to change a bit now. In the last sort of, I guess maybe 5-ish or more years, and it's starting to slowly sort of progress now. Where some guys are putting their foot down and saying, "Okay, we only fight with elbows, like full weaponry, and that's it." So,
the 8 limbs.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange though. Like, I don't know. I thought with Kickboxer coming out when it did, it would have just been huge. Tom Poe and that.
Yeah.
Fucking kicking the pylon. Don't you remember that?
Kickbox, wasn't that Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Yeah, but Tong Po was the Thai guy kicking the post and the fucking roof's coming down.
I don't remember it that well, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it 100 times.
He did the splits in it, though. I'm sure he did.
Oh, he would have.
I think he did.
So you were training over here in Wollongong. Was there a good gym?
Yeah, look, to tell you the truth, like there's lots of guys come through and no, like it's just that everyone passed through the gym in Wollongong that we're at, I mean, whether people stay or go or whatever, but that's like that's the only place there really was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
there was only one, wasn't there?
Yeah, downtown. That's all there was.
Wow.
And heaps of people have passed through
still
there.
Upstairs? It's still there?
It's been around since maybe the 80s or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's changed much from the outside.
No.
Yeah.
I've never trained there myself, but.
And so from there you got contacts over in Thailand?
Yeah, look, I started like I mean, the more you get into it, the more you want to learn, the more you want to practice, and then you go over there, and then you get a real taste of it, and you start to sort of realise that what you're doing over here, it's not Muay Thai. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, as I said, things are changing, but it's like a real sort of a diluted version, I guess, and you get to the source over there, and it's just like, how can what have I been doing these last?
So you've been dipping your toe in, but now you're fully in the deep end.
Yeah, and then but I mean, there's levels to it. You go there for a holiday, you may never fight. You want to train, like we were talking about before. There's plenty of opportunity for that, or it's like it's how much you want to
push into it. Yeah.
And how far did you want to push into it?
I think, like, for me, unfortunately, like when I went over there, I still was like pushing hard for it, but I sort of like rolled that dice and saved my money, quit my job, and went over there like right towards the back end. Like, again, and I was still completely capable and healthy and fighting well, but I always like have not the regret, but think like now, I wish I had have went there in my early 20s, you know what I mean? And then sort of chase that, because I mean, for me, I got to, like, I'd been going over the last X amount of years. You go a month here, 3 months there, 6 weeks here, and then I got to the point of like, let's do a long stint, and I did, I think, 3 months.
And that's a camp, and one you go to a kickboxing camp there.
Yeah.
You just stay in.
Yeah, that's the choice that you make. You can. Some will have on-site accommodation, most will, and you can eat at the camp. live it, breathe it.
Yeah.
And that's that's completely, I guess, up to you really.
That's what you did.
Yeah. Well, I was actually basically sort of next door to the gym because the gym that I was at was pretty. You don't want to live there.
I saw that Blessed with Venom.
Yeah.
John Wayne Parr talking about what he was sleeping on and that.
And it's like,
pretty similar.
Oh, if you went where I was, you'd, like I've seen people and like guys that are sort of at the top of the pile over here when I was living there, they came to visit the gym because it had a really big reputation at the time, and they still do. But
what gym's that? Just
Sing Patong. Yeah. And
what made you choose that one? Just because of the reputation? Or?
Yeah, well, I went there. I went there. This is going way back, and I knew that they were good. And they're in Patong, which doesn't really happen. They're like in a tourist destination, but they're a Bangkok level gym. And it's I went there, and that was at a point where they weren't taking any foreigners. So I remember I turned up and they turned me away. And, I felt like an idiot. I was just like all the Thais were all trained, and I had my bag and everything with me, and they're like waving me away, and I thought, oh, that's heavy.
What'd
you know,
you do?
I was just like, I ended up getting back in the taxi, and I'm like, I don't know what's happened here. And then that was because they weren't interested in foreigners. They weren't interested in their money. They thought they were weak and rubbish. You know what I mean? So they're not interested. Theirs is all about fighting in Bangkok and having big names and all that. And then I just sort of followed them over the years and noticed that white people started getting in there. And I thought, okay. And then all of a sudden they had, he's a good friend of mine, and because we've got to spend a lot of time together, and he's pretty well known. Oh, he's massive now, but he's a French guy, and he was he won Lumpini Stadium title, and he was the first foreign guy to win it and defend it against the Thais. Damien Alamos. He's someone you should look up.
We'll definitely
put a link into that.
Yeah,
and then I was actually fortunate enough. It was maybe a year and a half, 2 years now. I got him to come over and did a seminar here.
Oh, nice
at our gym. But then once I saw that they were letting people in, and that was when I went over there and spent I think 6 weeks. And I was like, this is hectic. And then I went back for 3 months. And then I went back the following year after that. I went back for 3 months, and I was like, that was the beginning of the end over here. I was like, I'm done. And so I just went back for, I think, 6 months and saved up as much as I could. And then I went back, and then I did like another, it's around a year and a half, something like that. Yeah.
Just training every day.
Oh, yeah.
What was your standard day like over there?
Look, it's... Yeah, I was what I was doing was basically you don't pay for training, and if you want to eat there, you don't pay for food, but in return you fight when they want you to fight. Yeah, you fight who they want you to fight, and you train and do as you're told, basically. So you basically just hand your life over to them, and they train you in return. But there's a different expectation there, so you can't miss training sessions. You have to train them twice a day. Like it's just not negotiable, basically, because they'll just get rid of you because the talent pool's just so big there. That you're just a number, you know. So it's like if you're going to do that, if you're going to go there and you want that, you give your life up to them, they'll give you that in return. But there's expectations. Yeah. So it's sort of.
How many fights did you have over there?
Look, to be
these
honest,
are fights in front of crowds, like
you get crowds. I think like I'd had about like, and see for me, like I go on another little sort of tangent. I had when I went over there, I'd only had about like different experience in different combat sports and a heap of other fights in that regard. So the competition was like the competition anxiety and that you still get it, but I was a little bit more familiar with it because I'd experienced that. So, but I'd only had about 6 Thai boxing fights, I think, in the amateur.
Like here in Australia,
And then I ended up with, I'd had 21, so 21 fights, and then basically all of them are over there.
Yeah. Shit, that must have been a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and it's sort of, and that's what I mean. When I'd only had, I think it might have been 5 fights or something like that, and then I went over and had my first like pro fight against a Thai. And
was that on? He had 270 fights. From what I read.
He had.
Holy fuck!
He had 270 fights, and I remember him sitting there because you don't know who you're fighting, you don't know anything about them. You got that.
You just turn up.
The language barrier.
Yeah.
You're just training hard for X amount of weeks.
Yeah.
And you turn up at the stadium at this time, and it's but the worst part of it is you'll be sitting in town, eating meals, going to do your groceries, everything. You walk around town and there's posters everywhere of you fighting and your opponent. And it's just in your face when you don't want to see it. It's just everywhere. Shit. And then you get to the stadium and you see who you're fighting and we'll be this far away. Yeah. In the same change room, getting our hands wrapped right next to each other, even at times like this. And you warm up in a room this big.
There's no aggro. It's not like boxing.
No, not at all. But it's tense. It's tense. It's tense for me.
What's going through your head when you're getting your hands wrapped? Do you put music in?
No, I've never been a music person.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, it's too emotional. Like I don't want to be revved up. I don't need to.
Calm.
I need to be calm. Yeah. There's times I've even had a sleep, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, right.
Before you go out, but
I don't know if most people could do that. Yeah, that would psych out the opponent, wouldn't it? This guy's fucking sleep.
Yeah, how calm's this dude?
But yeah, it's sort of. You start to learn, and the more fights you have. For me, just say, especially in Thailand, right? You'll fight at 9 o'clock. All right, so for me,
9 o'clock at night.
Oh no, sorry. The fights will start at 9.
Yeah,
and they'll have all like the younger people, the lower weights, and then it builds up to sort of like the main event stuff and everything. So you might be on at about 11 o'clock. So I'd turn up maybe.
This is daytime though, 11 o'clock.
No, at night.
Yeah,
okay, and then I might get to the stadium, ride your motorbike down there, and you get there at about 10 o'clock. So I literally don't have to deal with the crowd and the nerves.
Yeah.
Just ride straight in, wrap the hands, massage, warm up. On you go. See you later.
Yeah. With the oil,
everything's different to what you'd expect with pro boxing, with the protocols and the rules and whatnot. And it's like Muay Thai, you'll be covered in Vaseline, hot liniment oil.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, you're slippery, you're oily, all that sort of thing. Yeah. So it's sort of in a way to sort of makes it you harder to clinch with and catch kicks and punches to the body, slide. It's like that.
What about the oil in your eyes though? Because it's kind of got that heat about it.
Yeah. It's so I've never
got it in your eyes.
No, I don't know that it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I haven't experienced that myself.
You think so? If they're going to punch you in the face and you must be really good. Never had that experience.
Yeah.
Far out. That's
I think wild. In that your first fight, you stated that you got elbowed a lot, but you didn't look like you were in a fight.
Yeah.
You had a little bit of red over here. And that was
I remember that, and again, I remember I was feeling sick. Because again, I'd had that amount of there's 5 or 6 amateur fights, and then I just went straight into those pro ranks over there, and then this guy had so many fights. And he was an angry looking dude. And I just remember him sitting there and he was shredded. He was shredded and he was angry and he was just eyeballing me. And then one of the head trainers over there pulled me over and he goes, "You're fighting him." And he started laughing. And I've just gone,
fucking great.
This is not good. Yeah. And my girlfriend was there with me, and I remember saying, "What am I doing? Why am I doing this?" That's not good. And then I bet you start to pull it together. You go down, you sit there, you're waiting, you got the robe on, you're sitting down, you're the next fight, you wait. And I remember just thinking in your mind, it's like block everything. Yeah. That's exactly what's going through my mind. Calm down. There's no getting out of this now. It's like just block everything. Yeah, and then it just sort of you get in the first round, you do your thing, and you think to yourself, "I can do this." Like that first round, that wasn't so bad. I probably got the best of it, and you think, "Oh, I can do this, I can do it." And then just like that momentum sort of.
How many rounds were they doing?
They do 5 3-minute rounds, and it's sort of. I think you'd probably put it with the clinching, the kneeing, the kicking, the lack of being able to get a break. You can't, like in boxing where you can tie people up a little bit, and it's, but they're all about that action and getting in there. So it's like you'd probably put it with the kicking and whatnot. A 5 3-minute round in Thai boxing probably equates to about a 12 round.
Wow, it's that intense.
Yeah.
There's no rest.
Yeah, and that's purely because of the action that they demand. The gamblers, the betting, the
not
referees,
allowed to circle each other or anything.
it's on. You know what I mean? And then, but again, when you kick in your knee and you clinch and you wrestle and all that sort of stuff, it's like it's different. Like it just takes it out of you. You couldn't do 12 3-minute rounds in Muay Thai. It wouldn't happen, you know. So it's like I'd sort of say that and I'm not saying like I've had 12-round boxing fights, but it's like that it would equate to that.
The pace of it. You
I think that feeling where you hit that wall a bit, you got to push through it, and it's like that mental strength. And
do they? Because it's kind of seen when I watched it a few times, like it starts off slow.
They tend to do that, yeah.
And then, is that for the betting? I've heard.
Is
that like a well-known thing, or
it's more like the big and like people will say the gambling because it's illegal to gamble and bet in Thailand, but it's not for the Thai boxing. So
okay, wow. So that's where they get.
So, but and in a way, like people will say it's sort of wrecked or ruined a lot of it, where because you'll find that rounds 3 and rounds 4 are the big scoring rounds, and all the money's being thrown out, and then if you've got the upper hand and you've won rounds 3 and 4 or round 4 or whatever, they're round 5 a little bit more. I'm not wanting to engage. I'm running around, showboating, pulling away, not engaging. So it's like people feel like it's taken that from 1 to 5, just engaging and carnage, so it's a little bit more careful, and it's all about the dollar.
That's interesting. So they might even want to shorten it up to 3-minute rounds or something like that.
Well, they have, like, I mean, the gamblers play such a big part that you'll even have the gamblers will come to you at ringside and offer you money.
I was just going to
during
ask
the fight.
Shit.
If you win, like we're losing, right? If you win or you win by knockout in the next round, I'll give you this stack of money or this gold chain or this watch or like.
It's not allowed. Is that allowed?
It's. Well, I don't know if it's actually allowed, but that
goes on. But they're not going to do it. So they're not going to tell you to lose. If you lose this round, I can understand the difference between saying if you're going to win, that's encouragement. But if you're going to,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure people do get third world country people get paid to lose at times. It's frowned upon and not supported, but I'm sure it has happened here and there, but it's not openly accepted like that. But whereas if they're paying you to win or saying I'll give you this, like to win,
that's probably right.
Push a bit harder, mate.
That's right. Make a bit of extra cash there. Look like you're losing, especially if the favourite. Just look like you're losing, man. Everyone will come up.
The gamblers actually they'll come to the gym and watch you train.
Like thoroughbred horses or something like that.
Yes, and you always think, why is this guy watching me? When I'm hitting the pads, why is he following me around and just watching me like a hawk? and then you ask the trainers, you go like, who is this? And then they say, oh, he wants to put money on you for your fights. And
so he's a fan.
So there's
an invested fan.
Yeah.
What's the traditions? Because there's like the dance.
Yeah, look, it's all like. At the end of the day, they take it like it prepares you for battle, and it's a cultural thing, and it's like paying.
Sorry, how far back does it go? Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know from what I looked into.
Look, to be honest with you, like it's probably something. If I was a historian with it all, I probably should know, but I couldn't say. But
Thailand means footland, doesn't it?
It's a long.
It's a long history. So these dances are.
It's all about. It's like paying in. It's paying respect to the trainers, the people that have trained you, all that, whatnot. Yeah.
So sumos do something similar as well, don't they? Yeah.
So do they have a dance, different dance for each gym?
Each gym has their own.
Yeah, okay.
What if it's like a haka or something? Because I know I had a mate who was from Taiwan, and evidently the Maori started in Taiwan and made their way around South Pacific. And he was saying, the original Taiwan people have a version of a haka. Yeah, and it kind of made its way around. It wouldn't surprise me if it made its way the other way, through Asia as well,
Yeah, and I think a lot of those sports do. It's rooted in respect and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All those types.
Like the headdress and everything is all part of that.
Yeah.
So they never fight with the headdress. It always comes off.
No, that always comes off. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the last. I haven't followed. I got into it for a while. Last time I watched it, there was a transgender person was the champ.
Not Nong Rose. I don't know he or she if it was the champion. again, I haven't paid much attention, but
But it was no big deal. Was
no,
it like that? It was just
not
like,
really.
yeah,
I think that is in their culture, that acceptance and whatnot.
Yeah.
But she's a good fighter. Fights all the men, and is really good.
Yeah,
and they don't like it when she wins. Honestly, and if you watch the fights, especially the early fights when she first came on the scene, sort of thing. And for me, I'm not so much looking at the fight all the time. I'm looking straight into the corner and watching the cornermen and their crowd that's with them, and you can see the devastation on their face and the anger towards their guy that's losing. They're like, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
It's
I remember a rugby coach when I was a kid playing rugby, and we were shit. We were like 10s or 11 or something. We're just crap. And he goes, and he was a big Mara guy, and he goes, look, we've lost every game this season, but look at their coach. It's a woman. Okay, it's a woman. Boys. Get out there. We lost. Yeah, she's a good coach.
So what weight did you fight at?
When I first started out, I feel like, you not that they're mistakes, but you sort of feel like you don't really know what weight you're gonna. You rely on your trainers to sort of give you that idea, and I feel like I had a few of my fights at what do you call it, 66.7, so like welterweight, you'd call it that. But then when I got really serious with it, and I started not calling my own shots, but sort of having a little bit more like, okay, no, like I know I can get to this weight and stuff now. I had I fought most of them at 63.5, and that's obviously like, sweating the fluids out and making the weight.
Yeah. What did you normally weigh?
Oh,
do you remember?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'd know where I'm at in a fight preparation with my weight, and sort of like if I'm just say I was really fit, I'm ready to go, train hard. I used to walk around at about 60. A good weight for me is probably about 68.
Yeah.
And then I'd sort of restrict the calories a little bit, and then I'd sit at about 67, and that's when I'm sort of peaking and feeling good, and then I'd strip those last few kilos, like with the sweatsuit and like with restricting the fluids.
And when do you actually get weighed? Is it like in boxing where it's the day
24 hours.
So you can do the weight, then you can actually put some fluids in that in. Yeah,
and I mean, I feel like 63.5 was my that was my limit until I started to sort of feel like something's taken away from me. And I felt that because I had a couple of fights where people, I think they probably picked up on that and they stretched me to 63, like that extra half a kilo, and I noticed that.
Yeah.
And then I had, when I was living in Thailand, I got offered a fight in Langkawi in Malaysia. And all the boys were like, you got to go to, they'd had fights over there, and that's the best. And I was like, yeah, we'll do it. And then it went from 66 kilos. Yeah, okay, we can do that. And then it went to 63.5. And we went, I can make that easy. Then it went down to 63, and then it went to 62. And they started bringing it down. And then I said, I thought, this is not good for my health. And I thought, okay, we'll do 62 because I thought it's great, go to Langkawi for free. And I got to the point of the training. We're ready to go, and this is in Thailand. I'm wearing a sweatsuit, like a sauna suit, in the heat of the day.
Jesus,
jogging, getting the weight off, and I made 62 kilos. And then it was about 6 hours before we were supposed to leave for the airport. They pulled out.
And bastards.
So I'd made 62, and I was feeling like dog shit. And then
no fight,
the bags are packed. Like, okay, we're going to the airport and this afternoon, and we made the weight. Great. Okay, wait till we get there. We've made weight. We can refuel, rehydrate, and I'm just dry, and I'm sitting like, and then they fights off, and it was just
off to McDonald's.
What did you eat after like fights or? After restricting your calories all that time?
Look, to be honest with you, I think when you live in that life, and I mean, everyone's different, but for me, I've always sort of, and again, since like competing and training since I was a kid, I've always had that structure of weight categories and diet and performance and all that thing. So I've never been, not that I never eat bad food, but I've never been the type that's like, let's go and gorge on Macca's or
eat pizzas.
Food's more fuel. Like it's fuel for the engine.
Yeah, no, I mean, and when you if you go for so long without that processed food and deep fried food and whatnot, there's been times when I've gone for long stretches without touching anything, and then I remember one time when I had. Like that country fried chicken stuff, like not Kentucky fried. And I remember I had a piece of that, and I got through about half it, and I just threw it up. It's like you can't. It's like you can't put. It's like it poisons you.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of research now on gut bacteria and all that. And so when you think you want a Big Mac or some shit, you don't. It's actually the bacteria in your gut that's telling you to eat it. You know, that's because you're fed. You know, so that gives that type of bacteria all this energy. Whereas if you get up and you eat spinach or some shit, you're actually empowering that type of gut bacteria.
Who the fuck will wake up and eat spinach?
Popeye, man. There's forearms on that motherfucker.
Is there many reports of CTE in Thai boxing?
I think it's a little bit like the Wild West over there, to tell you the truth, and it's sort of there's a lot that would go on and it's undocumented, and it's more you'd pick up on that just by being around it and seeing it and just seeing people's behaviour and whatnot. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're talking like that acute stuff, right? You see someone knocked out, sure, that happens all the time, but the long term and the damage, and it's more so because. Like you look at the Thais, they don't have an amateur system. It's all pro. So from your whatever age it is that you start training, it's professional, right?
Wow.
And then it's not uncommon. You can't fight anyone in Thailand that's had under 50 fights. Pretty much, it's like that's what it's like. And so some of them go on, like we've said before, like that guy I fought, and he's not. No different to anyone else. He's had 270. You look at other guys have 350. Like some of them have 400 fights.
That's
crazy. It's like,
and remember the taxi driver we had 215 fights.
Yeah, that's not uncommon.
He's a taxi driver.
That's and then like when people hear when they say, "Oh, I had a taxi driver," and he said he's had X amount of fights. Who's this guy? Look, honestly, they're probably right.
Yeah.
It's like you can't. And as I said, it's just like that's what I try to tell the guys. Right, from if I've got someone that's over there and they're wanting to fight without me being there, one of my guys or something. I say to them, like, you need to be, if you're going to fight in Thailand, like some people can go over there and it's a joke and they actually fight a taxi driver, not a legendary taxi driver, that old joke, you know, and that can happen and they get looked after. Oh yeah, happy days, and they pay people off. But that's like, you know, it's in the minority, but it can happen. But I'd always say to the guys, if you're not ready or you're not at a stage where you can comfortably fight anyone, like if you go over there and they say you've got to fight this guy, and if he's had 30, 40, 50 fights, if you're not ready to physically and mentally to handle that, you shouldn't be fighting there, because it can end badly. And I've seen it, like when they just say they have one guy, I'm meant to match up with this guy, he pulls out for some mysterious reason, or it was all deliberate anyway because they wanted to put you in with someone.
They play it like that.
And then you end up fighting the guy that's had 50 fights, right? And then, but if you're not ready for that scenario, you shouldn't
be in there.
No, because it can end really badly. As I said, I've seen it happen and end really badly. Where guys just should not really be fighting at that level, and he's fought someone just wiped him out. Yeah,
and did it like because. You're a non-Thai fighter, obviously. Is the crowd kind of for you or against you over there?
I think
they wouldn't mind it if you got knocked out.
Yeah, no, it's always you're always going to have the backing of the holiday makers and whatnot that are over there, and they think, oh wow, there's an Australian guy, and you get that support and whatnot. But then the Thais never really want to see the foreigner win. Things have eased a little bit now because it's started to it's become a lot more common. There's a lot of Western guys doing really well over there, so they're used to it. Yeah. And then they find that those guys live there, they take on the culture and they start to relax a little bit. But back in the day, and it's like they don't want the
local hero to go.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Is that what they call a Nak Moi, someone that lives there?
No, that's just your Thai boxer, your fighter, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how do the Thai boxers, have many of them done the UFC, jumped into that? Because I thought they would have done great at it.
They're in ONE FC from what I remember.
Yeah.
That's something that needs to get a bit more airtime, really.
ONE FC?
Yeah, the one FC, one championship, like where they do sort of, they bring over. Look, I mean, the problem is it's the ground game plays a big. I'm not an MMA guy, okay. I'm not a fan.
Do you watch it?
No, I don't. And it's not because I'm being a hater. It's just like, I mean, for me, it's either boxing or it's Muay Thai. And when you get that traditionalist background, it's hard to watch a lot of that stuff. I've got the massive respect for them as fighters and athletes, and that's not the thing. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like they're different sports.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's like soccer and football, or rugby union and rugby league. You know, like it's. Yeah. I don't know why they have to compete. They can live in their own.
Just for sure they can.
Just to respect each other as athletes and fighters, and they're two different sports. It's like you take the boxer over to MMA, he's probably going to lose. Yeah, he's got a puncher's chance and his hands are better, his stand-up's better, but, you know, he's probably going to get taken down, submitted by a wrestler. Same with the Muay Thai guy. Chances are he'll probably get taken down. You bring the MMA guy over to this world and he's going to get beaten up. It's
they're different sports.
Different sport.
What about
Conor McGregor would do it though. He'd sort of play all these guitars better.
Have you seen that Litway, like the headbutting and
again, like it's pretty.
I haven't seen that. Is that Thai as well? Or?
No, what are they? They're the
Burmese.
They're the Burmese one. Yeah.
They headbutt.
Headbutts.
They have the They have. It's not. I think it might be just taped the wrists and a little bit of the. Like I think the knuckles are exposed, but it's sort of they just get the support.
Just kind of
So and they don't have. You can't win on points over there. It's either by knockout or by the other guy quitting.
Okay, yeah.
It's either it's a draw. I think they do 5 rounds, but it's either it has to be a draw, or you win by knockout. It's crazy.
I've seen this guy hitting pads. That was like the Litway champion, and he was a foreigner.
Yeah,
but he's throwing headbutt like it's fucking crazy.
It's
like
crazy.
The guy's holding pads.
Yeah.
He comes his headbutt out of nowhere. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
face to foot.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Who's the cat we were talking about earlier? Thai guy, like... Sanchai, yeah. He's an older cat, but he takes on all these huge dudes and all that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend. He, I think he'd be 40 now, maybe 41, no, 40, 41, something like that. Or 39, 41, somewhere around there. But, yeah, absolute legend. And he when he was he's not in his prime now, obviously. So the level, when you see... He's still got all the tricks and the skills and whatnot, and I think it's great because they put him in with a lower level of opposition now. You know, so everyone still gets to watch him fight. They still enjoy the spectacle of seeing him fight. But for him, it's not life and death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But back in the day when he was fighting, he always regularly he couldn't really get challenges and fights at his weight. He always had to give up 5 kilos and that's a big amount, you know.
Wow.
And so that's where the gambling comes into it. You know, they play the odds game
because he's so good. They
give up 5 kilos and he'd go up divisions, down divisions, and just so he could fight people, and then they'd gamble So a lot of the time when he'd lost, like he did lose fairly, but some of the guys he fought were big, you know what I mean? And that was their thing, just to smother him and shut him down and just use that weight advantage. But he routinely gave up weight, massive amounts of weight to fight people.
Yeah, he's very spectacular to watch.
I
think he fought in Glory, remember Glory kickboxing?
Yeah.
Pretty sure he had one fight.
I'm not going to say he didn't, but I can't, I couldn't say yes or no. I know he's fought on some of those things.
Because he did a cartwheel kick.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
But there's shins. There's footage of him actually, signposts, street signs, and he's kicking the post and bending the fucking thing in half.
I know.
Do you think that's a legit thing, or just kick the bag?
Yeah. And I think it's from what I gather, okay, I might get caught out here. Someone may have information to say otherwise, but I feel like it's more of like a Western American sort of thing where they want to, when people, like you see them bash the shins with the stick or whatever.
The rolling pin.
In my years of being in Thailand, I've never seen that. Never. I've never seen it. But you find it's like if you go on forums or whatever and you, I don't mind a bit of a read here and there, some of the stupid comments. It seems like the American crowd is like, they think it's like it's necessary. Like, you got to toughen your shins and run beer bottles down your shin. I've never seen that in time. But someone else that's been going to Thailand for 50 years might have seen it. But for me and the people I've been with, no. If you pulled out the stick and started hitting your shin,
you'd look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, green cave.
Yeah.
So that was, how long were you over in Thailand all together? You spent like 5-6 years coming back and forth.
Oh, look, I'd been going there for about 10 years before I decided to take that plunge and go and do that. Like,
okay,
and you may, like when you're a single guy, you're young, you just save up your holidays at work and you might go 2-3 times a year, and that goes on. You go for a month here, 3 months there, and all, that's usually.
What work were you doing? Was it still gym work, or were you?
No. See, the thing for me is I've got an electrical trade, and I used to do. I used to work at Wollongong Uni, and I did that for years, and I hated my job. I hate electrical work, and it's if anyone wants me to do anything, I'm like, I even get my mates that are electricians to come and do work. I'm not touching it. But it's like I did that for about 10 or 11 years, and I just hated it every day. And then I had some of my workmates were like, mate, you need to get out of here and like go and do. You've got to, And even my boss said to me, and this is what happened. He said to me, mate, he goes, if we're sitting here in 10 years' time and you're across the table from me, he said, I'm going to hate you. He said, you need to get out of here and go and do something like that. And then
that's great.
Yeah. We need more bosses like that.
Yeah.
Most of them are just like, oh, you got a good job.
Yeah, no, he said,
should be happy.
Yeah.
No. Well, especially when you've got something else in your life that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You got to take that passion and make a living out of it somehow, eh?
And that's how I haven't looked back from there, like, and but like with the gym I've got now and doing what I do and teaching people and passing that on and still living the dream, thinking I'm fired up.
Well, you're not retired yet.
Look, I mean, I think you face, like, for me, a little bit of burnout, like because I said whether it was whatever form of whatever I was doing of competition started when I was about 8 years old. So it's like from 8 years old through my 20s until I was like 31, and then I started to think, not that I hate it, but I'm done. You know what I mean? Physically, everything's still great. Like, you wouldn't notice or feel any different, but it's just mentally. Yeah. You just it's just like the desire starts to fade a little bit, and then I think as you get older.
You got kids now as well?
Yeah, I've got a little girl, and that made it really hard. And I feel like, but you don't. I'd never give any of that back. But I feel like I got to the point of where I hadn't fought for about 4 years or something. I feel like I'm training people now. I'm finished. Then my daughter came along, and that really put the nail in the coffin. Where I'm thinking it's just not happening. And then I decided, nah, we've got to do this again. And then and my missus she's like, and then I remember just doing the 5 a.m. run before work, running 10Ks, and then training, and then going to Sydney and sparring, and then doing all this again. I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And it was just straight ego, you know what I mean? Just going like. But you love it. There's lots of other stuff to it, but it's like, it's I'm doing it. And then this is not heard of, right? And I went to Thailand, and I had a fight lined up. And the guy pulled out the night before, and I'm just going. They couldn't get a replacement again. That never happens. I'm like, and I'm thinking, is someone trying to tell me something? And then it was like, which we spoke of before. I think 2019, the end of 2019. Yeah. I thought, okay, let's do it again. Let's
So
go.
You didn't get a fight for that whole training?
No, and it was just wasted, But then I kept, because I was just not training a great deal, but like before that, and then I used that as a platform to go, okay, look, I just got a good 3 to 6 months under my belt of training. Yeah. So you can springboard off let's have a month off, and then take it up again. And that was when I was like, right, let's do it. And I thought, no, we're going to do it properly this time. And then I got that one. That was my last one that we spoke about before.
Was that in Australia?
No, that was in
Thailand.
Yeah.
A Thai guy?
Yeah, Thai. And it's always the same. The trainers, they know the guys that you're fighting. And then I'm thinking, okay, who am I fighting? And sometimes you don't want to know. You just get me in there and just do it. And then they know the guys. And sometimes you ask that question of, you go, who am I fighting? Like, who's this guy? Like, and you say, what do you think? And then one of the boys will go, Yeah, I don't know. Like that, oh God! And it was one of those moments, And then my trainer's telling me, you really need to keep your hands up in these first 2 rounds. He's going to come out hard and try and kill you. And I'm thinking, oh great, here we go, like 4 years or whatever inactivity or whatever. I'm just going to be straight in there. Yeah, and it was horrible. It was
that bad? Was it?
It was horrible. No, not so much what he offered, but it was my lack of game time. It was just ring rust. In the first round I came out and just did things like just rookie errors and mistakes, and I'm getting hit, and I'm thinking that's not me. You know what I mean? In my style, I'm not going to get hit, and I'm getting hit with shots. I'm thinking, and I felt everything. And I think it was like like as you go on the experience, you have more fights. That you're always nervous, but you start to deal with it a lot better. And I didn't have that sort of. I was nervous, but I didn't have that.
Confidence that you could get through.
No, more like the like almost like the fight or flight. You know what I mean? That the adrenaline. Like it's on. It's go time. And I was a bit like sort of.
Felt like having to sleep.
Yeah, a bit flat. Yeah, have a sleep before again. But it was the worst thing. I just felt it's like you actually need that fight or flight. And I just felt everything, and I was just like, oh my God. And then I was sort of lucky because I stopped him in the second round. It was only until my trainers like get me back in the corner and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, wake up to yourself. And then it was like, and then in my mind it's like, okay.
Yeah, now it's on.
Calm down, okay? Yeah. And then that happened.
How'd you stop him? Do you remember?
Well, speaking of the boxing, it was a body shot knockout.
I think I saw that one actually.
Yeah. So and then but it was funny. It was like one of those things where we'd actually worked on it with my trainer and about setting up that body shot. Yeah. And then I remember him because he knew what was going on in my mind. Yeah. And he's screaming at me and he's going the body like that. and I thought, you know what, things aren't going to plan. Listen to this guy in my ear. And I hit him with the setup that we'd worked on. I hit him to the body, but I nipped him. You know what I mean? And I thought, and
you didn't think you got it in there? Or?
I got him. I know I got him. Yeah. But in a competition environment, it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? Like I know I got him good, and I could because he sort of I could see it, but I know that I didn't quite get him. I sort of hit him and come off a little bit. And then my trainer's going again, and so we went through it again, whack. And I don't think I could have hit anyone
as good,
any harder, any sweeter, any better. It was when it landed, I was like,
like Mark Hunt.
It was just that relief of like, oh, thank God, that's over.
And that was it. There was no urge to keep that going?
Well, I remember when I walked out of the stadium, you know, like all the adrenaline of the feeling of victory and people want to get photos with you and all that. It's all great and exciting. And then I remember going back to, again, the motorbike and you get back to your moped and I was standing with the boys and I said, boys, I'm never doing that again. I remember just limping back to my bike going, oh, fuck. And I just gone, I'm done, I'm finished. But then I came back, kept training. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to pull in a sneaky one and go back and go again. Yeah. And then I was literally with one of my fighters. We were talking sort of just quietly between us. We're going to go over and just sort of sneak one in and he'll come with me and I'll do it. And we went, right. And then as soon as we were prepared, he's like, are we looking for flights? Are we doing it? We're on. And I was like, yeah, okay, we're on. Started looking for flights. COVID hit and it shut everything down.
It shut down in Thailand as well?
Well, I couldn't fly. I couldn't leave the country. We were shut down over here. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe COVID's going to end my career. You know what I mean? I thought maybe that's the end. And then other people are like, no, like I think you don't just talk like that. One more, you can do it. And then so when COVID was on, I just trained like an animal, and it was just like, so my business is shut down. And I thought, I've got like 3 months, 4 months, and I just trained the house down, and then I thought, I feel great, and then and we're sort of here now where I'm in this limbo where I'm looking at if the borders lift. My missus will be, she sees this.
She's not keen on it?
No.
It's hardly something you can hide, though.
It's kind of like a mistress, isn't it? The fighters, like, I'm noticing this with a lot of fighters that have, like Mark's
especially when kids come along.
Yeah, but like, they always keep going back, it's like that crazy chick that's on the side or something.
Yeah. I'll talk like a hero in front of you, but it's like we're doing it, boys, we're doing it, but then she's thinking, no, you're not. But we'll see with COVID. If
We'll do something in Australia? Or?
No, look, I mean, and I've done that, and I've thought about it. I thought, you know what, it's probably easier to do something here.
Yeah, you could set something up.
But to be honest with you, like now that I'm at the back end of it, it's like the motivation's not there.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's not there at all. Like, you could have a fight here, and there's big things you can do here. But I mean, for me, the motivation to get up and run 10Ks every morning, get ragdolled by your training partners, everyone's trying to beat you up, you're doing pads every day, day in, day out, like that sort of stuff. Like, if I'm going to Thailand and I know there's like, it's special, you know what I mean? When you fight. So for me, it's like, if I'm going to do it, I want to go out with having had as many fights as I can in Thailand. It's like the everything that comes with it. It's like, for me, that's what's going to make me get out of bed and do it. But if I'm doing something over here, there's definitely like, the guys to fight. There's guys here to fight for sure. But for me, as I said, it's the motivation. It's either I'm at a point of where I just stop, we're done. But if you give me a fight in Thailand, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we can go again. You know what I mean?
Have you fought any Aussies in Thailand, or is it always?
I actually had I had one lined up where the boss of the gym, again, when I was living there, and he was like, one of our guys lost to an Australian guy, and I can't remember his name now, but I think he was Queensland state champion and possibly Australian champion at the time. And one of our guys lost to him, but really close. And my trainer was like, that's a great match.
Yeah, right.
That one. And then we lined it up and we're like, yep, like let's do it.
Yep.
And I think something happened where he broke something. It was whether it was his foot or his ankle or something, and then he was out, and then it just never got explored again. I think he went home and it was done.
Yeah, right.
But other than that, no. Like, I've fought guys from. It's mostly the Thais when you fight. But I've fought guys from like Burma. I've fought French guys.
Yep. Do you find them all the same, or some of them have more of a work ethic? Or?
I think the Thais are like, in a way, they kick really hard. They kick. It's more dangerous. It's feel like if you make a mistake, it depends what level you're fighting on. But if it's like, if you make a mistake, you haven't trained hard enough, mentally you don't cope with the pressure. If there's any weakness, you're done, and you can get really badly hurt. That's
by a Thai.
With a Thai. With a white guy, whether whatever country he's from, again, depending on his level, but you can sort of have those mental lapses and certain different things, and you can sometimes like you get away with it. But as I said, like the Thais, they'll punish you because their IQ is so high. They kick so hard, they punch so hard, they elbow so hard, and just their experience in clinching and elbowing and whatnot. A lot of the time, the white guys that are based over here don't have that experience. Yeah. So the Thais know how to set you up and hit you with elbows, and it's done. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the difference with the Thais. And I mean, like the first time I got kicked hard by a Thai, he kicked me in the body. And I mean, I don't know how I did it, and I answered straight back and booted him as hard as I could and landed as well. But I remember in my mind, I was screaming in my head, just got like, and I just copped it like flush, and I'm in my mind just going, fuck, like, what was that? It's like getting hit. It's like someone just lined you up and just hit you with a baseball bat. Like that's
oh shit! You didn't see it coming, because we were just talking about kicks, how. You know, like a punch, I can understand not seeing a punch coming because they can kind of hide in there. But a kick, the whole body's got to move with a kick and all that.
Yeah, but you got to think, one, it's very explosive and powerful and fast, right?
Yeah.
But in Muay Thai, you've got the hands, like the boxing, elbows, knees, clinching, setups and tricks and all that sort of thing to disguise that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things happening.
Faking, touching up, and then and that's when you get nailed. Yeah.
So the movement, it's kind of like
it's a rhythmic
perpetual,
sort of,
Is that
Yeah, that's right. They do.
Is that for the style or because there's music
Well,
going? Or
it's traditional Thai music, but
Yeah.
that's that rhythm and flow
Yeah.
is how the tempo of like the fight can ebb and flow and whatnot. But that's your rhythm and timing and tempo is with that sort of.
So
Yeah.
do the fighters match up with that tempo? Like,
Oh, look, I don't think it's complete. Like, I mean I'm just speaking like from my like I'm not going to speak on the Thais, but like for me, it does naturally set that rhythm and movement, but it's not like I'm looking for it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just
happens naturally.
happens, I guess. Yeah.
On a completely different tack, but I found that if you ever now you got a young child, get a baby, and they fall asleep in your arms and that you're on a couch or something. If you fall asleep, it happened to me heaps of times. I'll wake up and I'm breathing as fast as a little baby. And I'm completely cool, man. You have to check it out. You just get into sync with the baby.
With the baby, right.
Like they breathe like bloody hummingbirds.
Yeah.
So the rhythm's there. It's the weirdest thing, but you're not out of breath.
Yeah. I remember sleeping with my kid actually, and just waking up and going, "Fuck, but he hasn't moved. I haven't moved." But you're just like,
squash the kid.
Yeah, it's been a couple of hours. Like, how is he not dead?
Yeah, this last one, which will be my last kid, he doesn't sleep on me or anything. I love that.
Vinny,
you know?
Vinny's as tall as you.
Yeah, he is.
He's 2 years old and he's this gigantic kid. He's wearing my kid's 4 and he's pretty tall, but Vinny's wearing his clothes and he's 2.
We go to local shops and all the old ladies are trying to talk to him like he's 6 or something.
Yeah.
He's 2, man. He can't even talk.
He can say 2 words.
It's funny when they pick up language. Shit, they pick it up quick.
Yeah.
It's like from 0 to go, you know.
Yeah.
Won't be able to shut them up soon.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
Have you had many injuries? So you've been fighting a really long time.
Yeah, look, I've been pretty fortunate. I think what did I do? I broke my foot. And of all things, kicking someone in the head in a fight. I broke my foot. That happened once, but I've been really lucky.
You knock him out though, at least?
Yeah, he was gone.
Oh, thank God.
But then and it didn't hurt at times. Like you pumped, and then you walk away and like backstage and going, Jesus, it's like half an apple on my foot.
Oh shit!
I broke my foot, and I was training for a fight, and I broke my hand.
Yep.
Stupidly, it's a funny story actually. I was training one morning doing my strength stuff, and there was a class full of girls, and they were doing a girls kickboxing class, and I was doing box jumps, and it was an old box jump with a metal frame, and it was like one of the last reps, and I've gone whack, and I hit my hand. On the and I didn't make a sound, and I broke 2 of the bones in my hand, and no one knew anything. And again, I'm doing that whole scream in my head. Going, yeah, but outside of that, I've been lucky. I haven't. That was just stupidity breaking that.
You didn't make up an elaborate story.
No, I told everyone. I was just like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I've never had a bleeding nose. Or a broken nose or anything like that.
Yeah.
And sparring, it's funny. It's like I don't know, just luck of the draw, I guess. So no injuries. I think that's what you can go on a bit longer as well. No injuries, look after your body a little bit. And,
I think I've heard like the Thai style of sparring is a lot different to boxing, where it's
completely.
like tapping and touching kind of.
Yeah. It's they'll spar every day, every day, sometimes twice a day.
Yep.
They don't wear any protective gear, and they wear bag gloves or gloves that you hit the pads with or fight in, like small gloves, and it's all about soft hands and touching and moving around. And that's why they're so skillful and sharp and whatnot, where you get over here and people are just trying to knock each other out, and you're not working on.
You don't learn, do you?
No, it's not. You're not working on timing and rhythm and skills, and it's about power and damage. And then
it's dangerous.
When you go over there and they just play around with you and make you look a fool because of that. And I said they'll do that twice a day. Sometimes they'll do that for half an hour straight, and half an hour straight in the afternoon. You're sparring for an hour straight,
just in flow state.
And it's just just playing around and touching, and it's just that's that's why they're so slick and skillful.
Yeah.
And it's
keeps away the CTE, I guess, too.
Yeah,
'cause you're not
100%.
getting fucking jabbed in the head all the
yeah,
time.
and like they fight so regularly that like
Yeah.
I mean you fight nearly every month.
Do you
over
need to
there.
spar when you're fighting that much?
Look, I think there's a place for it. Like there's definitely a place for some solid sparring.
Yep.
And the Thais do solid sparring. I'm not going to say they don't, but that like 90% of
Majority.
the time, it's that steady state
Yep.
stuff.
There's a UFC fighter, Max Holloway. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I do know who he is. Yeah,
he was. He's been reported as saying that the first 5 fights, I'm going to say, didn't even have a striking coach. He was just playing video games.
yeah, right.
And fucking copying the moves, going to his mate, I come up with this combo and it works on the game.
Yeah.
Let's try it out.
Yeah.
And then he used it in the
It
fights.
works, yeah.
He fought Jose Aldo and he goes, the reason I beat him is because I played him in the game and I knew what he
Knew what
does.
he was going to do.
I don't know how true it is, but
Yeah, that's
he's like, I don't spar.
that's a new way.
He
to
goes,
look at
we got one chicken and I'm going to protect it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Different
think
way.
it sort of comes from boxing. I think that and people and look, I mean, and as I said, you do need to spar. You do it is, and that's what I try to tell my fighters as well. Like, see, I like to try to take that approach. Even with my boxers, my guys don't spar very often. Like they spar like a lot, but a different style of sparring, like themed sparring,
Like you set up a
like a situation scenario. They
one-handed
drill.
or
Like,
something.
my guys, they'll drill
Yeah.
a lot. Drill.
Yeah.
And then when they do sparring, a lot of it, like you, and again, this is just all a new way of looking at it. And you can simulate that fight and they can work on combinations and you can be punching to the shoulders, the chest, the body, the arms, and they're still getting that work in, but you're not
Yeah.
taking the damage to the brain. It's
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
Fucking
It's a shame Mark's not here because
yeah, this is perfect for him.
Yeah, and see, like Mark, he's a legend. You know, he knows the game like the back of his hand, and I've been fortunate enough to sort of spend a little bit of time with Nudge and talk with him and Mark, and they've been really great. Like with me, I opened my gym a few years back, and they've welcomed me like no questions, advice, help. Sparring, everything, and they've been great, and sort of, and a lot of that sort of stuff comes from guys like that, you know, like and pioneering that, and passing that on and going and just trying to change the game.
I think
a
what
bit.
Mark was talking about is trying to. Well, when I first met him, he was training for this fight that was coming up, and he was just saying there's a bit of a lack of community. You know, like there wasn't a lot of
100%.
backing, and so
Yeah.
and I find a little bit with the music scene as well. You know, we've only got a small group, so we need to network together and you know, help each other out as much as we can. Because if one of us grows and we all grow, it's,
and then I think that's sort of, unfortunately, I think I don't know whether it's the fitness game or it's just completely like in the fight game or it's a combination, but it seems to go across a few different fields like that. But yeah, and for me personally, I'll work with anyone. Whether I don't care who it is or where they come from or what their level or their background is. Like I'm all about working together, my success, your success, we all work together.
Absolutely.
Like, and
I think that's the best way to look at things, though. Like,
and that's like the thing, like I said with Mark and Nudge, and those guys have been at the top of the pile for a long time, you know, and Nudge is an amazing trainer who's an Australian coach and whatnot at times, and you know Mark's background, and they're willing to. No questions.
Yeah.
You approach them for help, they'll give it, and that's how it should be. Like I think people think there's not enough food to go around. You know, like a lot of people.
They don't realise if you help each other out, there's more food.
That's right. Yeah, it brings interest and like attention to the sport.
Well, restaurants, like I'm a chef by trade, and that's exactly the same as restaurants. Like if you've got a little restaurant in the middle of a corner shopping mall, you're kind of fucked. But if you've got competition moves next door, now you became a hub.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone wants to go, we'll just go there. But, you know, we want Thai, you know, so you actually want more restaurants around you.
Yeah.
And that
more people
makes
brings
it a
more
scene.
people and
same as music. You know, Seattle blew up in the 90s, and they were just all these bands in one area, and they didn't give a shit about what was going on around them. And then, you know, it created a fertile soil for the plants to thrive in, man. And I think that goes across anything, any business, gyms as well, 100%. For sure. Now, you're saying you've got fighters. You got any talent coming up?
Yeah, look, I mean, across both of the codes, the boxing and the Muay Thai, I've got some really good guys, and like I've got one guy that's had, I think he's had, and this is not, you know, it's not like he's had 50 fights, but for instance, he's had 9 fights and he's had 8 wins, and they've all been convincingly dominant right across the board. You know, like so, he's doing really good, and but like the guys like him and he passes things onto the other guys, and it's just that work ethic that they've got there. They're going to be successful because of just the work ethic.
Yeah.
And that's I've got a really good group of guys where again across both codes, and they're all hard workers, respectful guys. They're there every day. They take all the criticism constructively. They work, and it's like they're going to do well regardless, because they put that work in and they're good people. So, yeah, I've got to.
Must be great training people like that.
Yeah.
Is it hard to get them fights?
The boxers, no. Especially because they're in that weight category from, say, like around 60 to 75 kilos, or like they fall in that category. So they're pretty hotly contested divisions at like around that, at under sub 70 sort of around. There's lots of guys around, so they get matches. Muay Thai, like one of my really good fighters. Again, same sort of work ethic, really good guy. He's hard to match, and it's such a shame because he's having to make not that transition, and he's boxing now, and he's taking boxing fights just so he can fight. But he's 50. He could fight anywhere from 54 to 57, so that's a really unfortunate weight category. So it's like, and it's just like you just can't get fights, and he's that keen, that dedicated. He's like, if I said to him, I said, if I rang him right now and said you're fighting tomorrow morning, he'd go, "Yep, we're on." Let's do it.
Oh, bloody hell!
But he just can't get matched. So now he's looking at like he's. The last 12 months he's boxed with all my boxers, and he's really improved with his boxing. He's starting to go, maybe we'll dabble in that so we can get more fights. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, there's not really. I remember maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago they had fights at Waves, was it?
Muay Thai boxing.
Yeah,
Muay Thai.
I think so. I can't really remember. I think it was the gym out at Oak Flats.
Yeah, Nick Mullis. I know he could have done more. I'm not going to discredit him. He might have done 10 of them. I don't know. But from when I sort of really paid attention to it from memory, I think he'd put on about three.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, 3 or so shows, maybe like back a couple of years, like 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
But now it's well, especially COVID. There's fucking nothing. But even 12 months ago. Even longer, like I don't remember any sort of in the local area. Yeah. Muay Thai is kind of...
Well, someone's got to promote it and put it together. There's a lot of money goes into that. Just like doing a gig for a band, You put all this money into getting it all happening, and the fucker turns up. There's not there's not a lot of money in it,
Yeah, there's not, and it's like you're happy to break even at times. Yeah. And I've sort of, like, I mean, it's something that I'm going to get into, and it's almost like sort of watch this space. I've got a few things in the pipeline that I'm working on, and that's my thing that I'm going to work through.
To grow the sport?
Yeah, I want to be able to grow the sport and bring attention to it. And I mean, I put on, again, this is probably 2 years now, I put on a boxing promotion with the help of someone else that is experienced, and he sort of guided me through it and sort of showed me, okay, this is what you got to do, these are the people you got to talk to, this is the sort of money you got to spend, and like these sorts of things. And
but the insurance must be a killer.
Oh, again, I know I've got it all in my paperwork, but I can't remember how much it all was. But it's you put on a show, think bare bones, you're looking at about $7,000 to put one on. So it's like you got to think, what are you going to charge for tickets, because it's not Sydney, you know what I mean? So people aren't going to want to pay that. You got to be able to promote it and to just to get that money back. So
would you be able to do full Thai rules?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, that's something. Like for me, it's all or nothing for me. It's like I hate that when promoters ring us up and say, "Oh, we've got a guy,
no elbows."
But they call it mod Thai, right? Modified Thai,
Woke Thai.
It's like what are you doing? That's not Muay Thai. You're talking modified Thai with no elbows. I'm sorry, that's not Muay Thai. That's kickboxing with a little bit of clinching. You know what I mean? It's like, but people just don't get it, that it's like in that novice stages. I'm telling you now, you might look $1 million on the pads and they might whack those elbows in there and all that. But novices aren't throwing elbows. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's just their mind is just so much on like, get me out of here. They're not thinking of throwing this crushing elbow. Yeah. So it's like, guys, if you just calm down a little bit, accept elbows, and we fight in that style, you're probably not going to get hit for your first 10 fights with an elbow. You know what I mean?
So the elbow is used because it's a short arm basically. So you're in the clinch and you can get that up there.
Yeah, there's ways of dealing with it and initiating it and leading with it from a long range,
Really?
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
but. Oh yeah, they're the ones you got to watch out for the ties with the ones in close with the clinching, those sneaky little short ones.
Yeah,
in there.
yeah.
And then you sometimes you watch a lot of, say you see some highlights and you watch one, you see what did you just get hit with?
He's on the
he's
ground.
dead on the floor. You know what I mean? And then you watch the replay, it's just a little sneaky short bomb, and
Well, it doesn't take a lot of pressure,
No,
to
you
put
can
out.
generate a fair bit of force with that. And again, like those little sneaky ones in the clinching and whatnot, that's the shot that you don't see. You know what I mean? You just don't see it, and you just get hit with it, and it's
Good night.
yeah.
Yeah. Has that ever happened to you?
No, look, and again, I've just been super lucky, and it's sort of, but I think it's not more so much luck. I think it's just style, and that's not to say you're never going to get hit with elbows with that style. But I mean, for me, it's always about safety first. You know what I mean? Smart, use your brains, move, keep long, all that sort of thing. So I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. So I'm not the type that's going to walk forward and be like, yeah, let's do it. That's that sort of thing. So I think you sort of tend to avoid a little bit of that. But if you spend enough time in Thailand, you have enough fights, you're going to get cut open. That's
going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
and I mean,
yeah.
I've been hit with lots. I just said I'm safety first, and I've been hit with lots of elbows. But I've been hit with a few elbows in fights, and even the one that we're talking about, that one, the first one over there, I didn't even really know how to defend the elbows at the time because just coming from an amateur, like not much elbows.
Yeah.
How do you
I've just
defend
walked in with
an
this.
elbow?
It's just there's ways of doing it,
Yeah.
but I didn't know those ways. And he was getting desperate. And because I was winning, and again, this is like a little bit of a side story just quickly, they were looking at me backstage when we were up there before we going, and they were laughing at me. And then looking at my body and thinking as in like, well, we've got this guy, he's not like a big foreigner, you know. And then they started getting money out and taking money, and they're laughing and handing off, go and bet against me like that. And then, but that actually spurred me on to think, okay, let's do it. But then, I was winning, and then it got to desperation for him because they'd thrown lots of money on him, and then he just threw like 100 elbows in one round. I swear I got hit by every one of them, and I just remember coming out and I had all these golf balls all over my head, but I walked away thinking, how did I not get cut? Like it's just, yeah.
Did you win that one?
I won,
Oh,
I won.
Fantastic.
So that was it. I didn't walk for 6 weeks. It was like, I just remember like just thinking at the time, this is going to be bad tomorrow. That's
And it was.
Is that your worst fight? Like
that was definitely the heaviest like damage to my body, and I think it's like a breaking in period. You know what I mean? If you're not used to that amount of damage, it's heavy. But you sort of your body gets a bit tougher over the years of it. But that was bad. I remember I couldn't kick the pads for 6 weeks, and it was just it was bad. Yeah,
I remember getting a leg kicked by my mate and just going, fuck this. Let alone copping 100 elbows.
No, bloody hell.
Yeah, but it's a different game over there.
Yeah, it sounds wild. Like it's such a diverse sort of place, isn't it? And then they've got, it's so like happy and nice, and then they've got this brutal sport that goes on.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't really like. And again, the way we approach competition and fight sports over here is completely different to how they approached over there. And, I remember I'd lost a fight over there one time, and I was really like pretty emotional. You know what I mean? And I was really almost in tears and down on myself, like, because the work that goes into it's ridiculous, and it's just sort of. Then the boys, I still remember he was only a young boy, and he probably had about 20 fights or something like that. He was young, and they were taking my wraps off and everything, and you could see that I was upset. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He said, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And this is like a young boy. He goes, he said it's the same like football. He said, sometimes you win football, sometimes you lose. You come back and you fight again. He said, if you fight strong and you fight good, that's what matters. He goes, we don't care that you lose. Like, see, we take that attitude, and it's like grandstanding, chest out, and it's like the show. It's not like that over there.
Well, that's more sportsmanship.
They literally treat it like a sport, and they'll tell you if you play tennis, sometimes you'll win in tennis. Sometimes you'll lose 10 in a row. Sometimes that's
and
how
all
it
that
is.
matters is the way you play.
That's right.
That's
the way you
interesting,
play.
like what you're saying about not knowing your opponent as well. And in some ways, it doesn't really matter, though, is it? Because it's about how you go into.
If you fight with honour and courage, and you get in there, and you don't see, the biggest thing for them is it's like, and again, because their talent pool's so big, if you show any sign of mental weakness, you're on the scrap pile. See you later. And even more ruthless with the Thai boys. Like, if you're not going to cut it, or you're weak mentally to them, see you later. Next one comes in, and I've even seen, because again, the talent pool's so big to choose from, that I've seen the gym that I was involved in have trouble with a few of the boys that were living at the camp. There may have been about, say, let's like 10 of them. And these kids were, I thought, amazing, incredible, fighting at such a high level. He got rid of all of them. Within a week or two, he had replaced them with another 10.
Amazing.
And you just think that, in my mind, I would never get rid of these boys. It's like, that's like my whole career is going to be based on these boys. Yeah. And they just go, gone. Yeah. And then they just replace them the next day. It's like,
Is it the number one sport in Thailand?
I think, like I'd say yes, but I think people throw it out there here and there over the years where they're saying, like, whatever they call it, soccer or football, it's like, it's maybe more or on par, but it's still their national sport, like Muay Thai, so that's their national sport. But I think the popularity of soccer is like, it's huge.
Yeah, mums would prefer that probably.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a way, like, they all want to fight because it's a way to make money. Yeah. They can make their parents like yearly wage in one fight sort of thing. But, and then you can't get that money over there, you know what I mean? So they make that, they all want to be champions, but, I think it's still frowned upon. It's looked as like the farmers are the fighters, you know what I mean? Like from the rural areas, the poor people are from.
So it's like a gladiator kind of sport almost.
In a way, because they always say that the toughest and the best fighters come from the poorer areas. Yeah. So that northeastern sort of pocket of Thailand where a lot of the champions come from.
Probably the same for boxing though.
It's farming, it's like the Cubans and all that sort of thing. Yeah. So
what's the tattoos of the traditional Thai? What's the lions going up? Is there any symbol like? Is there a symbol? Does that mean something?
I've got a couple of them, and it's pretty common amongst the fighters. Yeah. They're like, a lot of them are like, in the Thai culture, they're like, for protection and whatnot. They've got different, some of them, like they've all got different meanings. This one's like a protection one. This one's to bring you wealth and prosperity. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, that's, and they get blessed by the monk and,
oh, is that the hand? Yeah. So they did it with the.
Yeah, I got one. I've got two of them. I got one with the gun, and then the other one. No, sorry, the first one I got was with the bamboo. Yep.
By the monk.
Yeah, and then that gets blessed and all that, and then the second one because it covered my whole back, and then a little bit of I want it to look good and last a long time sort of thing. I'd got that done with the gun, and then you'd go from there to one of the temples, and then you get a monk to bless it. So it's not completely like, but you can still have it blessed and whatnot.
Yeah. And what was better? What was less painful, the gun or the tapping?
I couldn't say like for a big piece because the one that was with the bamboo was say this big, and then the other one covers my back. So it's the one with the gun, and I don't know if it's just me, if you've all got a spot where you don't like, but my back was horrendous. So it was like,
I remember
like 5.5 hours of hell.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But we, because I went over there and I got a fair bit done, and they offer a lot of like pain relief. So I was just, I was like,
why the fuck not?
I was just fucking zoning out.
Yeah,
it was great. 10 hours or so, it just flew by.
Jesus. Yeah, I think I'm going to get some more. I think I might be having a midlife crisis.
I didn't even know you had any.
Oh, I've got one. Some more. Well, we can break that one into three. So I've got 3 tattoos. Actually, I got one, and my skin's that shit at tattoos that it just faded, like within fucking 2 months or something.
Done.
And then I had to get it redone again. I got the same one done like 4 times and it still looks shit. In fact,
maybe go to a different guy.
Go someone else.
It's quite funny though, because when I got the first done, I had this idea of this. I'd read this book and it had this eye looking through these clouds, and I showed the guy the book cover and said, "Would you do that?" And he goes, "Yeah, I can do that, no worries." And I said, "Maybe a couple of like mouldy tattoos around it or something." I didn't even look, and it's funny. He had the TV on, and at the time I was I was right into this cartoon with Conan. It was like from the 90s. And I didn't even realise he was doing it. I didn't even look. And I was just watching Conan because it was coming to the end of it. We was going to fight Set or whatever it was, or Skeletor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck, this is great.
He-Man.
Oh, He-Man.
Fucking He-Man.
No,
Skeletor.
No, it was Conan. No, it wasn't the Skeletor.
Okay.
It was Set. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I looked down. It was completely fucking wrong. It was like nothing like what I said it was going to fucking be.
It stayed on you forever now.
Oh, it's fun. Fucking Conan. Yeah, cartoon.
Fucking hell. Have you done much travelling around, Mitch? Or?
Yeah, I've done a fair bit actually. I travelled through Southeast Asia a bit, and again, I'm just trying to think of where I went. But I did a good few months through Asia, and did Vietnam, and I've been to Singapore, and I did a lot of that Southeast Asian stuff, and like most of it, Cambodia and whatnot.
Yeah, did you go to Angkor Wat?
Yeah, I did. Best thing we did there was go take the advice of go at sunrise, because I was there for a couple of days. Yeah, sunrise, and it's
beautiful.
Like no one around,
Yeah, we got a lot of...
Oh, did you? Yeah?
Every fucker was there.
Yeah, okay.
You must have went when it was a good time.
It was quiet, and seeing that sunrise, and there's like hardly anyone around. And then I think we went back the next day, thought, we've done the sunrise thing, we'll go a little bit later, I don't want to get up too early, and just went, this is disgusting.
Yeah,
it's just
right.
like people everywhere.
Well, everyone got the memo when I went. It was still good though. Like, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the way, And I just had my shitty GoPro at the time, and I got the best, like time lapses and that on it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what did you think of Vietnam?
Hated it.
Where'd you go?
Straight
Saigon?
up. Yeah, I went to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh, and it's like, I mean, I don't look. I think Thailand. This is after. Was it before? I'd been to Thailand heaps, but I don't know that I'd lived there at that point. But I think Thailand just really made it hard for any other Southeast Asian country to live up to it. And I think I did a little bit of research and found out that a lot of people just say that you either love Vietnam or you hate it. And for me, I hated it. I just thought that the people were just, they probably still remember the war. So, I mean, that's probably got a bit to do with it. But it's like, I didn't like it.
Well, yeah. Well, I've done a lot of travelling through there, because my wife's just not into it. Like,
yeah, okay.
I think she's worried about the health aspect, and now we got kids and all that. She's all a bit paranoid about getting over there and the kids getting sick or something. But I'd love to do it. Have you been to India?
I haven't. That's one that I'd like to tick off, but I haven't done that yet. Yeah.
We should do that. Smack Panda in India.
I don't know about India, man.
It'll be wild, mate.
Yeah, we'll be fucking wild, that's for sure.
1.5 billion people, man.
Yeah, in one fucking...
spot.
Yeah, one spot. Yeah.
What's that? Oh, Varanasi, where they're burning the bodies and sticking them in the river and all the kids are swimming around the bodies.
Yeah.
You got to go there. That'd be fucking awesome.
End up in the river. Fucking dead.
Yeah.
So you've been to... I think you went to Switzerland, did you? So you done some of Europe?
Yeah, I did Europe, and again, that was one that I didn't really have planned. Like, I mean, I always thought eventually I'll go to Europe.
Yeah.
And I remember when it got thrown out there as a bit of like a family and partners and all that sort of thing. I thought, is
that how you want to do it?
I'm thinking, I want to have another fight. And the missus is like, you don't be ridiculous. and then, we decided, let's do it. And it just blew my mind. I thought, how did I want to put this on the back burner? I just loved it. Yeah, and we did, I think. But again, I think I was gone for maybe 4 weeks. I think it was something like that. And, it was best. Loved it.
Yeah. Where did you go in Switzerland? Do you remember?
Where did I go? I know we went to, is it Interlaken, where they do, it's like right at the base of the mountains where everyone goes to head off and ski and everything.
Yeah.
And I went there and that was amazing. And then I can't remember from there. It was a good trip. I can't remember where I went.
I couldn't pronounce any of the words, but...
Yeah.
Did you go to Switzerland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I remember, this one place in mountain, I'll try and fucking find it, but you walk into this cave and there's a waterfall that goes, like a rivulet thing that goes through the mountain, and it's carved this epic structure in there. It's fucking
it's amazing.
mad.
Yeah.
It's like a very popular tourist place.
Yeah.
I'll be able to find it. Yeah, I did that in Austria straight after, and back around to Germany.
Yeah.
And then I think I flew from there to Sweden and did Norway and all that.
We just don't, our country's amazing and beautiful, but it's just different. We don't have that.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
It's so, like, in comparison, the size
really have
of the
a mountain
mountains.
over here, though.
No.
It's not,
We've got
the
hills.
Osco's not really a mountain.
We've got hills.
Yeah.
Not really mountainous, are we?
Mount Ousley.
Yeah. Mount Ousley.
Mount Kira.
Yeah, Mount Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah, I walk up Mount Kira every other day, actually.
Yeah.
Have you ever found yourself in confrontation, with the skill sets that you have?
Yeah.
And some drunkard wants
You'd
to
end up in
fight
jail.
you.
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to lie, when you're young, things happen, but not really. No, I think with the amount of, look, not even that, if you take it somewhere else, if you've got a good trainer, the respect and the discipline and everything that comes with that, and hopefully they're going to make you a better person through that sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think you put it more to that. It's the respect, the traditions of the sport, and the people you're around. So it's sort of really you learn to pull back a little bit, but then at the same time, I think with all the sparring and competition and whatnot, and you're sparring 3 times a week and you're fighting all the time. Now, I think it really sort of you're not out. I've got an outlet. I'm not looking to go out and punch on with some drunk at a pub or some guy that calls me a dickhead. And you know what I mean. I'm like, whatever, mate. It's I'm not.
There's nothing to prove.
You got nothing to prove. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
like going to a guitar shop and some guys, cutting wax like that. Go for it. Do your thing. But I know what's going on.
So I think it's a little bit of that. It's people would like to think, oh yeah, you get in fights all the time, beat people up, all that. So it's not the case.
It's not really. The more fighters I've met, it's not. It's not what I
comedians
thought.
Don't really.
It's not what I thought.
Jokes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're not funny.
They're not funny.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because you get this image when you're younger. I think because I knew a couple of boxers back in the day, and they were fucking in fights all
they're
the time. Hold on to that image, and then you get older, and that. And you're
it's not really like that, and that's they might be. Again, I could be wrong, but it might be the exception to the rule, and you get that occasional person just comes down to their nature and who they are. They're going to use it. You know what I mean? But I think in general, a lot of the guys that
come through the gym, you'd see him.
Yeah, and for me, straight up. Well, I weed a lot of them out, it's I know you just tell them straight up, look, this is probably not the place for you. You can pick their personalities and the type straight up like that. And you don't, I'm pretty confident and happy with the people at my gym, the guys and the girls, they're all good people. It's welcoming.
How do you pick the personality that they're going to be?
Oh, look, I think you can tell straight away. But there's some people who'll be up front and tell you straight away and say, I've had heaps of street fights. That's pretty common. And they'll come straight to you and they say, I want to fight. That's the first thing, the first point of contact. They come into the gym and they'll introduce themselves. I'm here to fight. I want to fight. Or they'll be like, I want to spar, straight up. They're
on the first day. On the first day.
But that's good though, isn't it? So they've come to a respectable place to get that out of their system. They've recognised that they're going to get in trouble unless they go fucking somewhere.
So, but you can go 2 ways with that. You can look at it and be like, okay, this is not what I want at the gym for the greater good of the people that I've got here. But then you can take it on as, project's not the way to say it probably, but to think, okay, I want to help this person. And then you think, and you try. And then I've had that a little bit before. You think, okay, look, this person's struggling a little bit. I want to try and help them and mould them and help them along the way. And some people you do, and you have them for a while, and you try your best to sort of guide them and help them. And others, they'll go good for a while, but you can see them steering off and going on. And sometimes you just can't help them. But it's
do you find because I've heard Mark say this a few times, you get because you're around the person so much, you start taking on a mentorish role,
and again, I think for me, I'm not too far off in age than some of the people, like some of my fighters and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's like, I swear, it's like, and I say to my missus, it's like I've got a dozen kids.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know whether I'm like an older brother or a young father, but it's like I've got all these adult children that it's like, that are, and not in a bad way, but they're like, they're needy. And then it's like, and then you find yourself like teaching them things like outside of the sport, you know what I mean? Like
Sounds like our guitar teacher, David the Irishman. He's a bit like that.
Yeah.
You got any other problems? You know, you're playing guitar and all that. But I suppose maybe for guys, it's a good thing. You can talk about other aspects while you're not looking at each other in the eye. You're punching a bag or something,
and
then you can let something else out. You know, like we're not really big on eye to eye contact and sitting down and show me. What's that? Are you okay, Dave? Dudes really aren't into that shit, man. You know, like it's. You got to get it out of them, another way, hey. You know,
we had, I think it was, he was a footballer, Dan Hunt, maybe.
Oh yeah, Dan.
And
Hunt,
he did like it was a good cause, like a black dog kind of. Like he came to the pit.
Guys,
He was saying the same thing, you know, like if you got problems, just talk about it and that.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone did. Like it's like you're saying, you got to get it out of them. Like
you can tell when someone's got something on their mind, man.
But if they don't want to tell you, you're not going to.
No, but you can't get it out of them, but you got to do something else.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You know, we'll mow the lawns.
But
Come here with this fucking deck.
Yeah.
You know, and halfway through hanging around on the deck and that, it'll come out.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think the guys actually working with that guy are going to get it out of him. He's not going to ring some helpline.
No.
You know, like.
Although he should.
He probably should.
Yeah.
But we understand if he does.
Or you should go to Dave the Irishman or come to
Come
Mitch.
and see me. Come and see me.
So yeah, Fight Works now.
Yeah, it's literally like I've been around.
It's the same gym, isn't it?
It's the same location, but then when you walk inside, you see that it's a completely different thing. And I mean, for me, it's just the direction that I'm going in. It's like I'm trying to structure my timetable and have have my fighters involved in different classes and whatnot. So it allows me to get back to what I want to do, and that's I want to build fighters, and I'm definitely still like I cater and train all those people there for fitness classes, but it's like this is a fitness class, this is a fighters class. You know what I mean? So it gives me that structure. And I can get back into what I was actually intending to do. So
that'd be a good segue, and into now training people, and getting out of the ring yourself.
It's sort of. But no, I disagree.
So you're looking at them, you're like, I can do that.
You see, like you see
when
things.
Can you stop? Like when you're always going to feel that way, and you'll be lucky that you haven't been damaged.
Yeah, but it's like what I've said. I've said to other people before, and again, Mark's probably dealing with the same thing. It's like, but for me, I think I need an injury that's going to stop me. I've said that. No, I don't want a brain injury. I don't want any injury, but it's at the same time thinking I feel like. I need something to go, you know what, you can't do this anymore because you broke your leg. Like it's almost like that.
Wow.
So it hasn't.
So you can see it happening again.
I think it will. I'm going to say yes, but that very well could be, it doesn't, especially with COVID and stuff, but the way I feel now, it's probably going to happen. Another couple of times.
Might not happen overnight.
Yeah.
But
it will happen. Yeah.
Are they still doing the, because you see boxing, they're still having fights, you know?
Yeah.
They still have Muay Thai fights in Thailand?
In Thailand they are. They, I think they've stopped them at the moment, but they went through where everything got shut down. Then they started again, and it was even to the point when the fighters are in the ring, they've got face like a shield on them and everything. No, not for the fight, but they'd be in there doing their thing, and then the introduction or whatever you want to call it, and then they've got
that's just for show, isn't it?
Yeah,
because they're going to punch the shit out of each
that's
other. They're going to touch each other, basically. If they don't, there's trouble.
Yeah,
but that went on, and they started bringing in big crowds again, and then. I think they've had another little bit of an outbreak in Bangkok, so they shut it all down. And possibly they could be starting them now or very soon or something like that. But they've been on and off.
Yeah, my mate, he moved to Thailand. He went there for 3 months, and then he came back. He was working in the tunnels, and he's never been anywhere. He never travelled. Yeah. And he just fucking sold his house when he came back.
Fuck it.
And when he lived over, he was there for 4 years, and then COVID came.
Yeah.
And he was sending his Snapchats. They were scrubbing they had this truck driving up the street and it was pumping out like soapy water, and they're scrubbing everything, fucking telegraph poles, cars, everything.
Yeah,
that was their COVID prevention early on. Like,
looks good.
It does look good.
But he's ended up. I think he tried to renew his visa by going to like Cambodia or something like that, but they wouldn't let him back in.
Yeah, okay. I used to do those. It was a visa run, and you have to go, like you'd fly into any of those neighbouring countries,
just to get stamped,
and you'd literally go through your customs or whatever it is, and you'd literally turn straight back and go to your lounge and then fly back. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He loves it there. It's paradise.
My brother's got a mate, Glenn, and he's funny because normally you think of, kind of, he's a Kiwi guy and he's a bush Kiwi guy. He's never been anywhere, man, but he had a bit of money and stuff. And Dan said, you got to go to Thailand, man. So he eventually went there. But it was kind of the opposite. He got himself a Thai lady. Normally you think it's this kind of rich Westerner, and a Thai lady comes on and she might, come over here or something. And, but she must have freaked out. She got the wrong Westerner, man. Because he went and fucking moved into her house. They moved into her mum's house. And stayed there for fucking years. The wrong, you take a bush Kiwi. Yeah. It's quite funny. Yeah. He's probably going to watch this. Hey, Glenn, how you going? But he loves it as well, man, And I think I was reading a sociologist talking about poverty and happiness and shit. And he says in the West, poor people are just fucking miserable. They've got no social constructs, basically because the West kind of worships the dollar. If you don't have the dollar, you're a piece of shit. Yeah. But and especially Southeast Asian countries, everyone's in the same boat. England used to be like it. Poor people used to band together and we're all in this together, And I think in Thailand, and from what I've heard of it, they've still got these social structures, because what makes you happy? It's your family, man. It's not the fucking money and shit like that.
They do seem pretty happy.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been to Bali yet, but those guys are ecstatic or some shit. They want fucking raised about that. Good mushrooms over there.
Well, I did try and buy some when I was there.
You actually did buy some good mushrooms though, didn't you?
I bought some common mushrooms.
They were tasty.
I'm like, here it comes. Nope. So he took me money.
Yeah.
It wasn't much.
No, that's right.
Beautiful place too.
Man, it's been great.
Yeah, I reckon we do a quick little wee break.
Well, tiny wee break. We'll come back for a little bit after it, and we'll see you in a bit.
Talk about
Yeah.
And who is this guy? That's to be continued.
Yeah.
I think. Oh.
Yeah. So we're back.
Yeah. I was going to put this.
Sorry,
on.
my
Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, guys. I've got these new buttons to push. Why do you keep whacking that thing?
No, it's that the lead is tangled around the screwy bit.
Oh God, who set up the studio? Oh, I don't know.
Someone called Matt. I hear you do a bit of massage.
Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
Okay, well, look, let's go back to the Thailand thing. So I was at a point over there because I'd always sort of thought I'd have an interest in it. Hated what I was doing with the electrical work. Didn't want to go back to that trade.
Sorry, what's the problem with electrical work?
I don't know. I just don't like it. It's
well,
just,
you're just mind-numbed.
Look, for me, I feel like now that I've found what I'm doing, it's like I've got to be passionate about it and live for it. Otherwise, I can't do it. And the electrical work was like I fell into it straight out of school. Got the apprenticeship, did it, and I just had no connection to it, no passion. It was just like I was literally just working and doing what this guy's telling me to do, which is fine. But I mean more like I'm just doing it for someone else. You know what I mean? And I just thought I've got no passion for this whatsoever.
How long did you do it for? The electrical.
Okay, this is going to make me sound really like an idiot. I did that and went on with that for about 11 years.
Holy shit.
So I got to middle age and then I realised this is not what I want to do.
No, I did it for 20
you know
years.
What? Yeah,
I would have fucking wanted to do it. Same thing, came out of school, had to do something. It was there. And I just jumped in and I was okay at it. You're probably, you're right. You're good at it.
I got it done and it was just like, okay, let's keep doing it. And then,
It's fucking mental.
I think 99% of all people are doing that.
Yeah.
Just doing it because they've done it all their life. Or
Yep.
Well, especially after they get a mortgage or something like that. And then
then they're
stuck.
fucked.
Yeah.
So yeah, you went from being a Sparky.
Then that was when I'd gone to Thailand, but prior to this, I'd sort of dabbled and applied to get into the course and everything for massage, because I always wanted sport massage. That's what I was sort of thinking. And then, from there, I got knocked back because the numbers were full. It was like 2 years in a row or something. And then I'd applied, and then I got an email, but this was like from like a year or two ago. And then they sent me an email saying, "There's openings. Do you want to come in?" And then I was like, "Oh, should I do it?" And I thought, I don't want to leave Thailand. Like, I'm living the dream, you know. And I was literally like right in the thick of it. And then it was like, I guess maybe like a little bit of a moment of weakness where I'm like, oh, maybe do I miss the family and all that sort of thing. I thought, do I go back and start a career that I'm happy with? I do regret it, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, and I wouldn't have what I have now. But I do regret not staying longer when I was fully capable of staying on longer. But I ended up coming back, did the course. And I was lucky, and I just sort of, again, just my competitive nature sort of thing, and in a good way. I think it's a good way, but it's like, okay, I'm going to be the best at this. I'm going for it. And then, I just threw myself into that, and then I got really fortunate where I got picked up by someone that was working, or she still does. She works with the Roosters and the Dragons. And then she saw something in me or whatever, and we were doing it like as a student, and she came up to me after the session and said, "Hey, do you want to come and do a bit of a trial with us?" And
awesome.
and then she said, "But like, it's going to be with the NRL, so if you fuck this up as a student, you're not coming back. Like, so you either take the risk of like, I won't employ you again, like you're done, or you come in and you swim and you keep your head above water, and the doors will open." And I sort of just was like desperate to be good at it. And then I did like, I think 3 seasons with the Roosters, and then a little bit with the Dragons. Really? And then that sort of led on to then sort of, loving that and doing all like, and I was really fortunate, like I got to do the pre-match stuff with the Roosters. So you travel with them, and then you go do like, while they're warming up, you see them getting rubbed down and stuff before they go out, and doing that and everything that comes with a club like them's like, it's mad.
That's lucky. Look at jumping into that off the bat. That's amazing.
I got lucky again. I just fell into it, and then that worked out for a while, and then you start to get over it a little bit because you don't make much money off it, So that, and you start. I think once you get through that realization that, hey, like I'm probably not going to make a career like money. It's great for the people that you're around. Oh, this is awesome, and you're around some of the best physios money can buy and stuff. But and then I just thought, you know what, I'm done, and that's when I started doing my massage like on my own and just having my own little clinic space and doing that.
Well, you got that skill set though.
But that's why you're forever grateful, because although you might think you start to resent them because there's no money for the work you're doing. But then you think to yourself, like the skill set that they give you, it's like that's the payoff. That's right. Yeah,
like you can do that for it. Like, I'll go back chefing tomorrow. It just doesn't matter, And so, it's taken me a long time to actually not hate it anymore. Now I appreciate it. It got me.
Because you're not doing it?
Maybe because I'm not doing it. Like like as we're talking with Detective X, we still wake up with nightmares. Of fucking burning something and all that. But I kind of respect it now. And I think there's, like, I've got a 19-year-old son who doesn't have a trade yet, and I'm just trying to push him really to do any fucking trade, man. So you got to have a skill set. Hey, 19's the age to bloody do it. And then, you can hate it later. That's fine, but, you can still go back and be a Sparky if you need to.
If I needed to.
I can see you going to Thailand before that.
Let's get back to the Thailand thing.
That was a nightmare. No, it was a good crucible to forge your will on, wasn't it? I'm not doing that shit again.
So I think, because I used to be a brickie, and the same thing, man. Oh, fuck. I cringe if someone says, "Can you lay 40 blocks for me?"
We're thinking about the back area there, man. There's some retaining wall going on.
I know a lot of good brickies, not me.
Not me,
Fuck.
You get another electrician. I'm not.
Well, we actually know a good one.
We got Jeff the Sparky. Hey, you might know Jeff Gregg, actually. Jeff, it's Greg, isn't it? Yeah. He's the Sparky for
Win Stadium.
For Win Stadium and all that. He's been doing it for a while. He's
a champion.
He's a champion. We had him on a while ago.
Yeah, okay.
We set it through,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. He's a chef.
Yeah.
So
you've got your own massage place going.
Yep.
And now you've totally canned that, and you just got the gym. Or?
No, like I've got a space at the gym.
Oh, okay.
And I do. I'd look to I've again like the gyms to focus on that. So I'm trying to pull back. Look, to tell you the truth, I don't really do that many massages anymore. I've slowly like faded it out. But I just do a little bit, and again, it's just to keep me in the game, and then work with people that I really enjoy working with, or people that have like they've been massaging with me for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So it's like those people that I'm almost like I'm in debt to them because they've been with me forever.
You can't really get rid of them.
It's that. That's right. That's where I'm at. And I love their company, and I'm happy to work with them. So, but I've just got that small core group that I work with each week. Yeah. But I'm not actively looking or putting it out.
It's a shame
there.
though, because with your gym and therapy, you could actually work the fuck out of them and then rub them afterwards.
Well, that's the running joke at the gym. I break you, and then I bring you. Come with me. And we walk up here, and then I'll
mend you up.
Put a different hat on. Wasn't me.
Yeah. How do you find because Mark talks about wearing different hats. He's got the fighting hat, the dad hat, the trainer. Do you struggle like balancing all those sort of roles, or you found a system that works for you? Or
I think it's just something that you just deal with and roll with the punches with life. You know what I mean? You just learn as you go. I find it hard. Like at times where it's like, do I deal with this situation like a fighter? Or do I deal with this situation like a business person? Like those sorts of things are hard, and sometimes you react a certain way and then you justify it by going, no, you know what, hey, no, that's how a fighter should respond. You know what I mean? And then you go like, wake up to yourself, you're an idiot. And it's like they're like things like that. And then, I guess, but like with kids, like you guys know as well, but it's like, I think that forces you to lose all those egos and selfishness and put it like, it doesn't matter if I never get to compete again or whatever, because if it's because of my daughter or the future or whatever, that's how it is. You just got to man up and just
deal with it.
Be a dad. You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like you have your moments, as you boys would have as well. Like you lose a bit of your freedom or things that you used to like doing, and
once a week or two.
But
I don't know about losing freedom. I lost one recently, but that's a different story.
Something
anyway, it was a good thing to lose, actually.
Well, it's for your health.
It was for my health, the ganja. Okay. Not that I smoked a lot of it, but I got back into it. I really enjoyed it.
I felt that you were a bit edgy tonight.
That's funny, but it became a crutch. Again, it wasn't for ages or anything. I hadn't touched it since I was 18 or something. I really enjoyed it. But
started to get a bit out of control.
Yeah, maybe. I thought it was alright, but then I was out of control because the wife said it was out of control. The boss called you in. But she was fair enough. And it's funny though how at the time I was completely anti what she was saying, but now I don't know if it's the truth or not. But it's what's that? An alternative truth, like Trumpy said. Now I believe what she told me.
But I think all the women at a level head, they see it from a different perspective.
Absolutely, especially when they have the little
especially when you're doing it. You can't see it because you're doing it, so you're going to justify it in your favour.
But like you were saying about you've been a fighter. I'm not a fighter, but when you get into an argument with anyone, you go into an argument with all your history. And I've broken family or whatever it is. You don't think about it, but those things affect you. And especially in the heat of battle, and that's maybe a good thing that what the fight game does for people is they actually are in the heat of battle a lot, and they can probably learn to control your temper in that a lot more.
I think that's actually that's actually a good thing to bring up, because I mean I was literally just talking about this like yesterday. Even it's like it's happened time here and there, but my missus is like, you need to start sparring again. Like, as in, she's just like you. And then for me, it's like if I'm not, because you're so used to the sparring and having that physical outlet and the fighting and having those goals, and then when that's gone, it's like you can't help it. I'm not saying you're going out just whacking people and being an idiot and people hate you, but it's like she can notice that you're edgy, and it's like, man, go and let someone punch you in the head. You know, it's like, it's
get humbled and come back.
Yeah, it's like chill out, and it's like, and then I find myself, you know what, you're right. Like, it's like calm down, hero. And it's like that's sort of.
You might need to take up the gunja.
Yeah, maybe. Swap roles. Yeah. But that's I think that, like we were just saying, like the fighting and the discipline and having that structure and everything. It's like it levels you out in like a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, most people are never in a situation where anything like that will ever happen to them.
Yeah.
You know, so if they get into a heated situation or where shit's going down, you know, it's easy to lose your cool. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird though. Everyone sort of reverts to fighting as a male, you know, like because
it's crazy.
How many people can actually fight?
Yeah,
fuck all.
Like the percentage would be.
But I actually
insane.
think it's a lot scarier now than when I was growing up because no one could fight then, man. You know, so fuck all people were boxing and shit. So you get into a street fight and you're okay. It'd be ridiculous.
And there was no Google.
There's no Google. But you could look like idiots. But now you just never. When I first came to Australia, I was with an old uncle of mine. I thought he was old. He was probably 40 at the time. And he wasn't a boxer or anything, but he just got me to hold the pads for him. And after like 10 minutes of this shit, I couldn't feel my wrist or my hand. And he was the type of guy, because I grew up in South Auckland, so we all had to pretend to be staunch to survive. And I was never a fighter. Yeah. But he was the type of guy I would have probably had a go at, you know. And he would have knocked my fucking head off, you know. And that's when I thought, this fighting game's not for me, man. I'm going to chill out.
Pick up the guitar.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Sing my way out of triumph.
Actually, the old man's... The segue, he's got a story of just that. I worked with this guy called Rambo, who's a little dark South African cat, and he was telling me a story.
Why do they call him Rambo?
He liked knives. He was getting really fucking angry. It's a good story. And he played really good guitar, and he was telling us a story. He grew up in South Africa in apartheid time, and he grew up in Soweto and all the what do they call those places? Little shantytown type things.
Favelas and...
Yeah, basically of South Africa. And he got in with the drug dealers and all that, and he had a Hessian sack of ecstasy pills, and they said, look, you hold that for us and we'll come pick him up in a couple of days. And so he was with his mates and they're jamming out, and they said, should we just have one of these pills each? And they said, yeah, okay. Shall I call my girlfriend up? Yeah, okay. Call the girlfriend up. Next you know, there's a fucking 3-day party. They take all of it. And then 3 days later, he's asleep and he gets woken up, and it's the gangsters. They said, where's the pills? And they said, don't answer. We fucking know where the pills are. You know, they're in your stomach. They're in all these people's stomachs and that. Right, this is it. They take him out to the desert, fucking guns and everything. They said, we're going to have a trial. Well, they took him out to the desert, but there was like a little shack there. So we went into the shack. They had a trial. They had a judge and everything. They were, we'll do this legit. You stole our money, you know, what's your defence and all that? And so it went on for a couple of hours. They had tied a little bit of lunch break, but it was a death penalty. And but there was a little guitar in the corner, man. This guy could play. And he fucking picked the guitar up. Do you mind if I pick the guitar up? And I said, yeah. And he started strumming away, playing George Benson. He could really play.
Yeah.
And fucking it saved his life. They started drinking. They got the judge and all that for the gangsters. And he started playing better and better and better. And fucking they ended up taking some pills themselves and had a great time and let him fucking go. Jeez. He played himself.
See, the drugs helped.
Wow, they got him into trouble.
They got him into trouble, but then when the gangsters had it, they found empathy.
Yeah. I don't know how we got into that story, but
that's a pretty cool story, mate.
Story, yeah. It was a legit one as well. He wasn't joking. It was fucking curtains for him, man.
Yeah. So what's the future hold for you?
For me,
I think we already know, don't we?
Yeah. we're gonna lead back to that. I think for me, like, eventually, like, you know, seeing the light and stopping, and then look, I already focus on my guys at the gym. I do. They're the priority, but like not having any ambitions of my own, and like just sort of emotionally being able to let go of that thing, and then just go full steam ahead with that and not have any ambitions to go, hey, let's go again. And then just, build my fighters, build my gym, put on promotions, and just sort of really try and
Do you think with
take that as far as I can.
with the taste you still have for the ring for yourself, do you think it's actually Thailand you got a taste for?
I think then that like all of that plays a part. I think as in like Thailand, the culture, the people, my relationships over there, the sport, but also like the adrenaline of like that's it's alluring, or even it's like everything that comes
together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
So your mate, what's his name? Don?
Oh, we were just off air. We were just having a chat about a friend of mine from New Zealand, Don Miller, and he's got a gym down in Melbourne, which we'll probably get him on when he can travel.
Yep.
But obviously, it's doing it really tough with COVID, man. They've been shut down almost for a whole bloody year or something, man. And there wasn't a lot of help for gym owners down there, mate. So I don't know how he's going out. I hope he's going all right. But he was one of we were talking about him early 90s, and Thai boxing it really kicked off in New Zealand, Australia around about then, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting you're talking about the golden age of Thai boxing, because that was the golden age of boxing as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, in a way,
It was the golden age of cricket.
Yeah.
Like everything kind of, and
You know,
almost
they always
music.
say the 80s were good, but the fucking 90s were pretty good.
Too,
90s was
Jesus.
great.
All the stuff that we like, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he was like a trailblazer.
Trailblazer.
So was he would have been just after John Wayne Parr when?
No, he was before.
Wow.
Oh, they would have. I'm just trying to think how old would Don be? Don would be what?
Well, I'm 45.
I was about to say about 40,
about 47.
Yeah,
or
about
something like
40, 45, 47 around there. So he's I think like his era would have crossed a little bit at the time, but Don was before that.
John Wayne, Is he still fighting John Wayne Parr?
Unfortunately,
He had that,
See, no, that's what I should use.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously different levels here, but that's a good example to be like, okay, let's pull the pin.
Is it really? He's gone far enough.
Look, I mean, massive. Like you can't not respect Wayne Parr for who he is and what he stands for and what he's done, like 100%. But it's almost like you wish him well, and you don't want to see fighters get. Like, I mean, look, he's got every right to earn. If people are going to give him money and pay him, and that puts food on his table and pays his bill, he's got every right to do that in my mind. And he's massive respect. But it's more like I hate to see like a faded version. You know what I mean?
Almost like the Ali thing.
That's
on too long.
We're going on a little bit too long, and I think he's still like. Mentally he's all everything's intact. It's good, but I just feel like when's enough, and you just want to see him sort of fade off into the sunset. But I think it comes down to money. Like it. Yeah. I mean, it's like there's not much money. I think he's probably been at that, like where you can make a living out of it. But it's like, are you going to be able to retire on that money? You know what I mean? So I think it's like
Jesus, that's
so
mental.
Because he fought in one.
He's just
in front of the king, was it?
Oh yeah, they're on the king's birthday night. He look basically like whether you like him and his style or whatever he does or not, whatever. Like that's your opinion and agenda. But like he's done everything.
Yeah.
Like, he's done everything. Like he's fought on all the big shows, all the big stadiums, won all the fights. Like he's there's no doubt that he's a legend for what he's done.
Yeah.
Like he's achieved a lot. So it's like he's done all those big things and fought on the real King's birthday show.
Yeah.
Fought some legends and stuff and all that. But it's like that's why you feel like when he got that one he recently got that one championship contract.
Is he?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And they're heavy. Like they'll have like the best guys that they can get a hold of, and they sign them, and they fight it similar like to the UFC, where they make. There's only one sanctioning body, and they make the best fight the best. So he's going to be fighting, and I just think, it's almost like so good for him that great, you're going to get a good payday, and you're going to make a bit of money, but then you see who he's going to go in with, and I just think, and it's like, I think,
because they've kind of got a different weight cutting system. I don't know if you know much about it.
I haven't done heaps of research on it, but I've heard a little bit. I know it's something about they monitor and track your. I don't know if it's your fluid levels or whatever, but because you can't. I don't think they allow those massive, drastic
that's
weight
what I've
cuts.
heard.
So they monitor that.
Yeah. So if you
Sounds fair enough a little bit.
if you're training all the time and you weigh 70 kilos, then they make sure
You're going to sort of fight around that.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what he's going to do because I don't know what the cut-offs are or what you can and can't do. But he's always been known as a big weight cutter. Like he'll, and again, like I'm not in his camp or anything.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard from other people, it's like he might walk around and fight and train to about 80, 82 kilos, something like that, and then fight down as not anymore, but as low as like 70 kilos, 72. But I think as he's gotten older, he'll be like more now, like 76. I think he's had a few fights at and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know how that'll work for him.
Yeah. Do they use so one championship is the same, like a partner with 1FC, or is it?
I think it's owned by the same people. Yeah, same thing.
But it's
Singapore
MMA
based.
and
one of it's the MMA side, and then they do like the Thai boxing and / kickboxing and whatnot like that.
Yeah, because you don't really get to see much of the Asian MMA.
No, but it's like, and the thing is, like they've had,
look for it.
They've had some of those guys that have been stadium champions over there and stuff in Thailand, and like they're legends, you know, and then they have them transition over to the MMA stuff, and it's like crazy, like when they get a little bit of maybe a takedown defense or something like that, but their stand up just wrecks people.
Yeah,
it's
it would.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It'd be insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good show.
I think we had a good show.
Yeah.
That was a great
Thanks
talk.
for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was
fucking
great.
great.
Get down to the gym. Where's the gym at?
Ralph Black Drive. We're pretty much the first one at the start of the street there. Yeah,
For
North
international
Wollongong.
people, that's Wollongong, south of Sydney.
Fight works.
Yeah, fight works.
Get in.
Yeah.
Get a good workout.
Get amongst it.
You
Learn
get a
how to
massage
fight.
afterwards, mate.
Yeah, you get you get beaten up, and then you get a massage.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks,
Cheers, bro.
boys.
Beautiful.
Oh, you can do